Son Jesus, who died on Calvary's cross for our sins, Father. Father, just ask if they would please be with us, Father, as we journey through this meeting today, Father. Father, just ask if they would to be in the midst of this meeting, Father, and let it be a productive meeting for the city of Lafayette, Father. Not only in saying Lafayette, but the citizens of Lafayette, Father, that things may be done productively, Father. These things we ask in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
All right. All right, Mr. Clerk, I can, I will be the first one to say there's not probably a whole lot that we, could probably question you on or really just dive in on this stuff because you are the money man. So, I'm pretty sure some of the things you've got here are pretty well laid out. So, I just will continue to go through the same process, but on your salaries, you got a list of 160,000.
Yes, what I did was I just, of course, just took my salary, Diane, Amy, and Alicia. It actually, the total comes out to roughly about 159, 369, 60.
Okay.
So I just put 160.
Okay. All right.
That's not going to be including anything else. I do normally, according to the policy, we're supposed to give annual evaluations. I have annual evaluations for my employees, of course, but have not included anything in there for that because you requested the other department heads
not to include that. Yeah. Okay.
So have not done that. My overtime, if you're wondering why I had 1,100, that was just because two things. One, anytime I can't make a council meeting when Diane attends it, normally that's overtime. But that's a small amount. But where I really got the 1,100 from was because I just wasn't quite sure how we were gonna handle when we move over into City Hall.
Okay.
So I didn't know if there was gonna be some days where maybe I tell the ladies, hey, we're gonna have to do inventory or either do some stuff on, say, a Saturday.
Right.
And then, so the number that I got, I just took their pay, time and a half, as if it would take us 16 hours.
Okay, all right.
So I just said, basically, if it took us 2 full days for some unknown reason to move, 2 full Saturdays, or either 4 Saturdays or 4 hours,
4 hours, yeah.
then that's kind of where I got that number. I don't think we'll need that, but I just wanted to put it in just to be on the safe side.
Okay. All right.
Social Security line item is pretty self-explanatory. Life and health insurance is pretty much self-explanatory. I just took how much our health insurance is, our life insurance is, multiplied it by 4. And, I had, let's see, I think I may have left my sticky note, but I want to say and I did leave my sticky note, but our health and dental together is roughly like, I think maybe $580 a person per month.
Okay.
So that's how I came up with that. Retirement, simply the retirement factor that we use, that we receive from RSA, that's based on the actual salaries. So that's how I got that. Office supplies, I just went with 2,000. That's the most I think I spent, like in 2018, 19, it was a little bit over 2,000. Last year was right at 1,900. Just little things that add up. That's going to be all like my Post-it notes, my pens, my paper clips. If we need some folders, that is what I normally put in my office supplies.
Okay. In your office supplies and in your operating supplies, I mean, you guys are running the city,
Yes. Yes.
Everything comes out of your office. So, I mean, those 2 numbers, are they high enough that, you feel comfortable with those numbers?
I say yes. We can jump on down to my operating supplies, and you'll notice that there was one year where we had a big jump of 13,000. I actually looked back, and that was actually a coding thing that that we needed to adjust. We purchased something and it shouldn't have been in there, but if you see like this past year, we spent 5,400. So, you know, I mean, that's just gonna be like a lot of things, like when we get office supplies and operating supplies, they kinda almost intertwine. Hey, Council Lady, how you doing today?
How you doing?
I'm good, and you?
I'm good.
We are on, the operating supplies.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So, you know, whether it's paper, envelope, paper towels, you know, I mean, everything that we have kinda in the office, copy paper, what else, air freshener, sanitizer, of course, with COVID, you know, this entire pandemic, we purchased a lot more stuff as far as like, you know, the hand sanitizer, the gloves, the mask, you know, that type of stuff. But, I think I have it at 8,000. I'll be honest with you, I kinda felt like that I could possibly drop it down a little more. If you want me to, I can.
Well, let me just ask or mention that, you know, with us, you know, possibly, you know, being on the move is, I mean, we're into different facilities, would that, you know, would that cost need to stay counted to, you know, you have more space and more bathroom usage, or not usage, but just area and stuff? I don't even know if it's a public bathroom there.
It wouldn't be, cause it would be in the back.
Okay.
I mean, and that'd be similar to what we have going on
Right,
now.
yeah,
We
yeah.
don't have public access to our restroom. We can,
Well, I mean, you know, I think, you know, with, and y'all help me out as far as, you know, moving, you know, bigger facility and, you know, all that. We don't wanna, you know, just shoot you in the foot and say, hey, you know, you come out of a small box, you continue to operate like a small box or anything like that, you know.
Makes sense.
I'm just thinking that, you know, I mean, this year, this next year, I mean, I think it will be fine, you know, and it may be a half a year before we really even get in there, but still, we need to, you know, we wanna make sure that, you know, you've got what you need there to.
There'll be some getting ready.
Yeah,
yeah,
you know,
okay, so
I think it'll be fine at 8,000.
okay. My fuel and oil is just the, vehicle that I drive, you know, it comes with the fuel, you know, and that's kinda dependent on what the gas.
What the gas price is.
are. I will say, you know, it's interesting that I do purchase a little more oil because I guess that truck is older, got a lot more miles on it, so that oil just kinda disappears.
Don't do that.
You know, you kinda look under there, you're like, well, I don't really see it on the ground, but it's going somewhere.
It can
so.
go now, yeah. Well, maybe we need to get you an electric car.
The, audit and accounting fees, it used to be about 48,000 for the audit, and then, when Jackson Thornton kinda took over for Steve Boucher, it kinda bumped up a couple thousand, and this past year, it was 51,000, and I spoke to them again, and they said that they were pretty sure that the audit would not
Fall out.
increase, so I just put that number.
Okay.
If you look back, and I just wanna kinda clarify on something. If you look back, you'll see in 2019 and 2020, it was 25,000. And actually what happened there, that was actually a partial payment.
Okay.
Because they would, sometimes they would require progress payments. What's gonna happen is when we get the audit back, then the number will probably actually increase to kinda offset it, because in 2021, we paid a little more, but it was part of that previous one.
Okay.
So I didn't book it in 2020, 2021 on this sheet, but then I forgot to add it back into 2019, 2020. So that's kinda why it looks off. Our audit was never 25,000.
So,
Consulting fees, we've had two main consulting fees the last few years. We had a fee for grant writing services, which was roughly 10,000. And then if you notice, we were, well, about 10.5, I think, cause it went up. And then if you notice, we were over some because we had, consulting fees associated with the city park. And then we also had some consulting fees that I just booked on my end when, Mayor Moody was consulting with people about City Hall and the City Hall renovation. So I just kind of booked that under my budget. If you'll notice, I pushed it back down to 11,000 because as of right now, I don't really have anything in the budget anywhere associated with the park. And the reason I don't, I mean, we'll discuss that a little later, but we'll go over the numbers and,
okay, all right.
you know, and so with that said, the consultant fee is 11,000. I'm not sure what the grant writing service is gonna be like, you know, going into this new fiscal year. You know, we'll send that advertisement out, we'll see what we get back, you know.
But that won't change until March anyway.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah, and that's something to where we pretty much paid, excuse me, I just had lunch at Subway's.
oh well.
But, we pretty much pay that in one lump sum. So when we signed that contract, the renewal in March, we made the payment right after that.
Yeah.
So that was just for that fiscal year, and then now in this fiscal year, we're kinda, you know, sitting at zero so far because we haven't made a payment at all. So,
Okay.
medical service, I do not, that's normally like your physicals and your drug testing. I don't expect anything as far as new hires go, knock on wood. But I did put 500 in because when we do random testing, we break it down by each department.
Okay.
So if someone in my office is chosen, then whatever that cost is, it goes in. I mean, I could knock it down 250 or, you know, but
Well, I mean, you know,
You may get somebody
you know,
back to back.
Yeah.
you could be random more than
Yeah.
once, and then you could, I mean, you could have a situation, so.
Yeah.
just, I mean, that will be fine, I think, right there.
Okay.
You know, yeah.
As you see, the telephone, we've discussed that before. The mayor and I have talked to a couple of different people, so hopefully we're gonna move forward with that soon. So that's why I put 15. I actually was conservative with that. I really expected to be lower, but I didn't wanna put the cart before the
Yeah,
horse.
right, right.
I can tell you the current provider right now, though, they're outrageous. So,
Well, hopefully we can get those numbers coming out throughout the city, I mean, you know,
Yeah.
hopefully, yeah.
Travel and training, I put 2,500, and it really wasn't for me as much as it was for two of the ladies in the office. One, what we've kind of done in the past is I've been relied on as far as, and I guess even before me, Pete, have been relied on as far as when the HR stuff comes up. And one thing that I want to do is have someone that's kind of SHRM certified with the Society of Human Resource Management, so that they're certified and they know how to handle certain HR things. Another thing that I want to do is I go to the clerk conferences often. Well, I hadn't the last couple of years because of the pandemic, but I've spoken with the current assistant city clerk about that, about going to those things too, so that they have the knowledge. So when things come up, they can answer the question. It's not, well, let's see what Lewis says.
Right.
Because those things are good. That's when you meet with the league attorneys and they go over the updates and all that type of stuff. So I have that in the budget for that purpose. Of course, it's gonna be a pretty ugly budget, so that has to be cut, I understand, but I just wanna explain why I actually have that in the budget.
Well, you know, it's one thing about, you know, everything, all the departments that we've dealt with and stuff, you guys, you know, everybody in the city is coming to you all for information and stuff. And if y'all don't know it, then we in trouble, you know? So I think, you know, if you got it kind of lined up where, you know, everybody or the proper people are trying to attend some of these meetings and things, I think it's fine, you know? And, you know, the way cost is now, everything went up, so,
Yeah.
I mean, I think we'll be okay there.
Yeah, one thing I was gonna say, one good thing about the pandemic is they've turned a lot of this stuff into virtual as well. So that's why the cost can be, if this was 3 years ago, that wouldn't be the cost.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they literally have to go to every class,
Right.
and that would
Right.
cost a hotel room,
Yeah.
driving, you
Yeah.
know, not including the registration. So,
Yeah.
but because a lot of this stuff is virtual now, that's why we can get away with this.
Okay.
I, actually, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't think about it until afterwards. I left everything out because I was thinking about the 2 employees. Then I didn't include myself if we attend the league conference next year. So,
Well, I mean, you
so
know,
that's something.
do
I
we
think
need
it's
to,
in Tuscaloosa next year.
do we need to go up 500 or more?
Well,
On
let
that
me
one?
just see, and
Okay.
then we can revisit it. Utilities, or, you know, that's kind of what they are. You know, we actually bill ourselves for, our power usage at City Hall. You know, the entire city, we bill ourselves so that we can kind of see where we are and know exactly what we, cost when it comes to utilities. So,
Go back up, Mr. Clerk, we
Okay.
skipped,
what I skip?
postage and advertising.
Yep, okay, I sure did. Okay, on postage, I put it at 1,000 because actually what happens on the postage side, not only do we mail things out, but, for like us, but a lot of times anything that goes out, it kind of comes through our office. Now, if it's a different department, like say if it's water department, then we'll kind of code that to them, but say like if it's something that you guys ask for us to do as a mayor and council, that comes out of City Hall's postage.
Okay.
So, and I know we kind of discussed about maybe trying to do something a little different as far as like sending out things to the community, maybe changing the bills possibly, so I just figured, you know what, we'll just leave, we'll put that at 1,000, that's gonna be more than what we spent, but we may send out a little more stuff. Postage has actually increased,
Yeah.
so,
That's right.
okay, I didn't mean to skip that.
Oh, that's fine.
And then, advertising. Advertising, again, is based on, like, I don't expect to advertise a lot with regard to, say, hiring. But every time, say, we pass an ordinance, we put that in the newspaper, that comes out of my budget.
Okay.
If we change a meeting date, we put that in the newspaper, that's gonna come out of my budget. Anytime the planning commission meets, or the board of adjustment meets, or any type of advertisement that's not specific to say, like, if we're letting people know that the water is gonna be off, you know, if it's anything just in the general fund type of thing, that's gonna come out of my budget.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Insurance, I mean, you know, last year, you know, we break the insurance down throughout the departments, and last year was roughly about 35,000, I was just hoping that my portion would stay about the same. We will have, I should have the exact amount for our, general liability, you know, comprehensive collision, all that type of stuff. I should have the exact amount in the next couple of weeks, so I'll be able to adjust that to see if it's right at 35, but I definitely wouldn't expect it to go down.
Okay, all right, okay.
Because insurance just doesn't go down. Building repair, on that one, I anticipate us going into the new building, but, I did not put a lot of money in that line item, because I figured whatever we do with the $5,000 was just because if we go into the new building, if we go into a new building, there's still a couple of things that are going on in the old building, so,
Yeah, because you don't want it to fall down.
fall down, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Equipment repair and maintenance, it's 14,000. Half of that off the top, we actually code our, IT stuff, our web hosting, our, backup, the web security, all of that is coded to my department. So roughly about 7,000 of that 14 is just gonna be IT, automatically.
Okay.
Then you have other items, so, let me. Then you're gonna have our, copiers, you know, City Hall has a copier. In fact, City Hall has a copier and a couple printers, so that will fall under that item, that line item. And I'm trying to figure out what the biggest ones are. And then also, we have our billing system. It's actually a program through a guy out of Florida. His name is Brad, and Brad Trim. And sometimes we have to call him. We had to do that a lot more this last year or so because we had new employees. When Dept and Chaucer were here, there were very few questions. And then, you know, when you have the newer employees and they're not accustomed to the program, and it's an old program. So we have to call Brad because with his program, it being older, there's a lot of things that we're not gonna know what to do unless we call him.
Yeah.
It's almost like support.
Okay.
I will mention that I kept that, similar to what I thought it would be. I didn't add in any type of like new program, new billing system. I didn't add any of that in. I know the mayor previously had asked me to, but you know, when you look at an overall budget that I'll give y'all that ends up at 1.5, then I'm like, you know,
Yeah.
I'm just not even going. Motor vehicle repair, I just put 500 in. I figured if something goes wrong, more than $500 in that old truck, I just start driving my car back to work. Cause it's on.
Did we have it in some budget somewhere about getting it for some type of vehicle?
It's been mentioned, and I think what's gonna end up happening is, you know, the clerk don't want, you know, get out what he's in, but, you know, he ain't gonna have a choice come talking time. We're gonna put in for him something new too.
Good.
Along with, and, you know, if we're gonna buy any departmental trucks and stuff like that, I think it's only fair that the clerk have
Yeah.
something better
Dependable.
and more dependable.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and to represent the city.
And you represent the city when you drive up at all these places, so,
Right.
yeah.
And I think Councilmember, Wade got on me a couple times about that, cause I'm like, oh, I'm fine. He told me, look, you represent the city, you can't ride around looking
Well,
like.
you know, I've talked to him, and I've said stuff, and I've tried to figure out how we can get cars from another department, you know.
And I will say, at one time, y'all did
Okay.
vote, at one time, y'all did vote for me to take over one of those,
Yeah.
Crown Vics. And I actually never did, and then when I didn't, the police department ended up needing it anyway,
Yeah.
so I was like, okay, that's
But
fine.
I'm like, Councilman Mayor, we just need to
Oh, most definitely.
purchase
Yes,
one, just
yes.
specifically for
For,
the clerk.
yeah, that's right. That's
And
right.
City Hall,
Yeah.
you know, the
Yeah.
office part of
Yep.
the administration part.
Yep, that's right.
Then, of course, the dues, I put out 1,000, you see this last year, it was only like $500. A couple years back, it was more, and what I actually did was, those years, we actually joined National League of Cities. And I had those, fees in my budget, but then I turned those around and put them in the mayor and council budget. So they're still in here, they're just not on my side. So if you were wondering like, why are we at 2,200 and 1,600 this year, but now we're down to 5. It's just because I've moved those to the mayor and council budget. On my end, most of our dues are gonna be things that are simple, like clerks association dues. You know, so something small. I think a couple years we actually added into my budget, East Alabama Regional Planning dues, but those dues are actually separate in a, separate category in the non-departmental, under this budget, so we took those out. So mine is pretty much gonna be a clerks association dues. May add in something with the HR part, but it shouldn't be much. And then the last one I just put in, the one thing that I did put in was just a computer, because we have the front desk computer that I think is 15 or either 14 years old. And we need to kind of change that one out, because you really don't have any security on it, you know, with what it's operating on.
Okay.
And, so I did put that one item in the budget.
You know, and I know we talk money and stuff like that, and we talk and we've dealt with other departments on, you know, cutting this, or, you know, we'll look at it and stuff. But, you know, overall, you know, if City Hall don't have, the city don't have. City Hall don't have, the city don't run. City Hall don't have, they gotta go out and get somebody to print something, do something, and it's gonna cost even more. So, you know, I'll say to you, Mr. Clerk, that, you know, the thing that it's gonna take to run City Hall, we need to always make sure we go ahead and get them. I mean, we got to in order to run the city, you know. Okay, that, you know, overall, I mean, you know, that looks pretty good. And now I'm gonna ask you as far as, you know, cause I don't know, I guess like the, non-departmental, library, inspection should go with Mr. Green more or less, right? Or more toward the police department, is that correct?
Mr. Green.
Okay,
Because what inspection used to be was when Debbie was here, she was doing licensing. That stuff would fall under inspection. Then when she stopped doing that, it really fell down. But then Superintendent Green started doing building inspection type stuff. So then we kind of wanted to add something to that. Now, what happens with inspection now though, because Debbie doesn't do the actual licensing, George and his building inspection stuff, he normally, most of his costs, he just rolls into his street. Shouldn't be that way, but that's the way it is. I think the only thing we've literally coded to inspection was when he gets like his licensing certification. But that's definitely something we could look at moving forward. If I had to guess, I would say in this budget, I don't think I would have anything in inspection.
it's $350, insurance and dues.
Yeah, that's gonna be that certification. Let's see, what page is that? I lost my.
I got a page 10.
You have additional pages?
Huh? I don't.
Okay,
do you-
yeah.
Do you got any of these things I just mentioned, inspection?
Yes,
Recreation, library, or non-departmental?
Yes, I've got that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I guess, since I just passed that out, we can jump into it. Yeah, so inspection, you had on page 10. And I do as well. Yeah, I just have that insurance, because, part of our comprehensive insurance, there is a small section for inspection services and then dues, and that's pretty much for Georgia's certification.
Okay.
That's something that we do need to look into to see how we wanna handle it. I know there's been talk in the past about maybe possibly doing something a little different with the licensing aspect of things. I don't know if y'all still talking about that or not. know we approved Avenue, another contract not too long ago, but then we've also hired a code enforcement officer that I think is gonna be assisting them with some of that, so I don't know if that's something that we wanna keep in the police budget, or if we wanna move his salary to the inspection side, cause I know he's gonna be doing a lot of, checking people to see if they have license, because if you'll notice, our, revenue went way down this past year, and part of it is because we really don't have the enforcement side, because Avenue is, they're wherever they are,
Yeah.
but it's not here.
Right,
So then, you have somebody come in and do a roof, they're
right.
in and out.
Right.
And you have a lot of them coming in on weekends.
You have a lot of trees
Weekend,
being cut also, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think, if, I don't know, if this may not be the proper place to deal with it, but I mean, inspection, I guess we would probably need to move his salary and all to inspection, so that, we know and any proof needed to be done, it all's in, under what he's supposed to be doing.
And we can see.
That's right,
Yeah.
so, and it'll be a live spot
Right.
that we can focus on.
Right.
So I think that is something we'll end up needing to do, is to move everything about him over there, and, we'll go there, okay? Let's jump over to the library, which is nothing pretty much, it's just a payment that we have to do, I think, is that right?
yes, they send a, appropriation request each year, they pretty much send it to all the cities. To just kinda help fund the libraries, which we would have ours in Lafayette, but it's also part of the Bradshaw Library. Over in Valley is just one system, so normally, they normally request just level funding, so it should be about the same amount. I don't know if they, let me see, can I find it?
16.
I got paid 16.
Yep, as you can see, it's pretty much been the same amount.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's changed since I've been here.
Yeah.
I think maybe one time.
One time, okay, yeah, they just pretty much ask for the same amount each year.
So,
But I will say too, since we have an entire budget, first, does anybody have any questions about just my budget specifics? Because if not, you'll notice on page 2, if you look at that grand total, you'll be like, wait a minute, that seems like it's higher than it was before we started budget meetings. And I think Councilmember Mangan would attest to a couple of things. One, we had some budgets that were turned in that when we started drilling down, going into the numbers, they didn't maybe have the correct number of employees in their salaries, so salaries increased, or either other items increased. I know for a fact there was one department where the department head, a lot of times is covering shifts because they're short, and then when they turn in their salaries, they had the actual salary numbers. And the question was, okay, so do you plan on continuing to work all those hours, or do you plan on filling the slots? And then when we put the slot back in there, salaries went up. There was, we agreed to, we voted to hire a, full-time animal control officer. I just kinda guesstimated and put an amount in for the animal control officer, so that increased the budget on the general fund side. Just things like that. If you look on page 1, you'll see that the general fund looks like it's 1.4 plus, in the red. Some of that will include some things that we put in debt service. So say for instance, if George Green was gonna buy a limb truck and it was $150,000, well, that entire $150 wouldn't necessarily come out of this budget. So you have some, I don't wanna say number playing around, but some adjusting you can do to knock this down. But if you really look at it, with what each department head is requesting and what they say that they need to operate, that's where we are in the general fund. And then you can do the same thing going down with each fund. And these numbers are after we've met with department heads. So, again, that's why on my end, with having a new system kind of make things a little smoother, yeah, but, maybe we got some other stuff we need to deal with first. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I just, for me, I just couldn't in good conscience try to add to what to me was a huge mountain anyway.
Yeah.
Well, as long as we're not covering our costs for the services, that's the way it's gonna work out.
Plus, I mean, overall, we've gotta be prepared, in making a move that, some of the stuff that we, gonna be moving may not be operational
Yep.
or,
Right.
it may come up with a glitch,
Yep,
when we get ready
may fall apart.
to move all this stuff over, so, I think, it's,
Yeah.
I think we'll be better off if we're gonna do any kind of new system is to get in place and then go back and look at, upgrades as to where we may need them and stuff like that, And we may be able to run, for another year or two with what we have with no problem. I mean, because what I'm thinking is, if everybody's got their own little cubby hole at City Hall now, you'll have a little bit more space, a little bit more, of a cubby hole, and, there's gonna be some things you need and stuff, so I think we'll,
One thing that I have thought about too is if we move to that building, although we have like different little offices, like eat in the back, I think the setup will still need to be similar with
to
the
what it
ladies.
is.
Yeah, the way it is now, simply because you're gonna have that drive-through.
Yep.
So you really can't
Somebody
have,
got a
say,
front
the one person that's gonna catch
The
the
front
front
one.
door, and then the
Yeah.
other two people are in the office somewhere,
Yep.
because that drive-through is gonna keep
It's gonna.
somebody busy,
Yeah.
you know?
Certain
So-
times of the month, that's gonna be very busy.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think that, initially I was like, well, you know what, we can have this person have office, this person have office. I think we're still gonna need to be in that open space.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And then if you need to say, like, if you have an employee from another department that comes in and they
Right.
need to talk about some personal
You
issues,
move over into that.
then you
Go
just
to
take
the
it
other.
go in the
Yeah.
office and discuss that, but I think we'll still need to kinda all be out in that open area, because,
is it gonna be enough room in enough space in a room for us to have a council meeting and to be spread out?
no,
It's gonna be close, if anything.
Oh,
I don't
wow.
think it is right off.
Not the way it is now.
no.
I think there may be a room on one side that you might be able to take a wall out if it's not low bearing,
Well, but you
See,
can put,
you know,
if
and
it's
see.
low there, you can put columns in.
Yeah.
It'll be the first meeting room that has
Yeah.
columns in it.
See,
You can do that if you need to.
That would be
See,
nice,
when-
to be able to
Yeah.
actually have a meeting
Mhm.
Right.
at our city hall.
Oh,
Yes.
right.
See, and then that's the thing too, because you could figure out some things, as we kinda looked at, you can figure out some things to where we can get you all in. But then when you start having people that are attending,
Right.
Because
That's when you
this-
run
this
into
COVID is
problems.
still very much,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
focused out here, and I'm not coming to a meeting and being crowded. I'm just
Yeah.
not gonna put myself in that type of danger, and I wouldn't want anybody else to
Yeah.
place themselves in that type of environment. So, is there any way we can look at maybe?
We just need to go up there and
Cause I haven't been in there.
We just need to go look again, and once we get finalized as to what we're doing and all that. It's just a matter of
Maybe knocking on the wall.
going in there and saying, hey, this is what we may wanna be, and then get an architecture, somebody to come in and say, hey,
We have to get an architect.
no, I don't think you have to get an architecture,
You
but
gotta
you can
get a
get
building
somebody who knows what they're doing.
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
yeah.
but not architect, sure.
Not
Cause that's
architect,
gonna be
No,
A lot
not
of money.
architecture.
But you need
Yeah.
someone who can make sure that the
Oh, I
structure,
understand
the
that, I'm just
structure is
saying,
right.
if we get an architect, it's
Yeah.
gonna be a whole lot
A
of
whole lot, yeah.
expense.
Well, but my impression was, when we went over there and looked at it, was that at the south end, there was probably room, but.
On the south end of the
On the
building,
south end
yeah.
of the building, yeah.
For us and,
For us
and
to
the
have,
audience
for us to have,
and
a meeting. Well, it
public.
depends on how big the meeting is, you know, we've had.
I think we may end up getting us settled and then seeing what space we can create after that.
but you can't not let them come in.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Create space, make sure we got space for them, for the
Yeah,
public.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
okay, I got
Well, I think certainly we can do better than what we've got in the city hall now.
you. Gonna have to.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, all right. So is everybody, we're good with, the clerks on administration? We're good there on everything? Okay, and we just briefly, we jumped in and hit library and inspection, and I think we're good there on those two items. Now, non-departmental,
Yes, so your non-departmental, that was what, 15, 16?
I got 6.
Six. Your non-departmental is gonna be things like East Alabama Regional Planning, the Chamber of Commerce, Development Authority. Let me see, okay, yep, Chamber of Commerce, they requested level funding. East Alabama Planning, theirs is gonna be about the same. The League of Municipalities, emergency management, of course, that increased because that went up when we agreed to the
Yeah.
50% increase on that, emergency management, appropriation. So, as you see, in previous years, it was a little bit less than 7,000, like right at $6,996, and then we went up to $10,494, because that's the exact amount that it will be. CCDA, Development Authority, their appropriation is the same. Youth Services, everyone kind of makes an appropriation that goes through the county, that actually goes not only through their youth court system, but also to the Lee County Youth Development Center, because that's where any kids that have any type of issues, legally wise or whatnot, that's where they go, so we all kind of help fund that, so. They actually asked for if I remember correctly, it was a 12% increase. So that's why you'll notice that it said 8,500. That's the first time they went up though since, it's been years.
I've got 2 sheets left over here, which is 4 and 5. I guess we,
Okay.
legislative and administration.
Yep, so the administration is mine that we just went over. The legislative is actually,
Oh, I don't know why I pulled that back out.
legislative is y'all.
Yeah, I had 2 of those sheets, I'm sorry.
So that's pretty much your salaries. I just put in the budget as if everyone was gonna get their salary. So that's where that number comes from. Social Security, of course, what it is, you all do not receive life or health insurance, so that's not an item that we have to cover for. I put 3,500 in council supplies because I did not know what we're gonna need to do moving forward. If we gonna need to purchase things
Yeah,
through the council.
right,
I know last year we had to do some things a little different because of the pandemic.
right.
So those costs actually increased. That's also gonna include in that amount this bill. So, because charge us with $250 a month to use this bill.
Okay.
Legal services is Attorney Tucker. So I put that at 25. Postage, I just put 100 because I wasn't sure if there was anything maybe that that we coded as just mayor and council that needs to go out, so I just put that. Travel and training, I put it at 15 because we've had, interest, actually before these last 2 years, and these last 2 years kind of cut it short, but we've had interest in attending the National League of Cities Conference. And then we normally also attend the Alabama League of Municipalities Conference. So to cover for those, I put that at 15,000. And then insurance wise, I can tell you right now that this insurance number for 2020/2021 of $254 is wrong. Obviously, I've coded something that was supposed to go to legislative, and I put it in somebody else's department.
Okay.
And what I need to make sure, because we're so close, because when I'm coding things, City Hall is 05, Mayor and Council is 03. So if I had to guess, there's probably something in my budget that really should be in your actual numbers to increase yours.
Okay.
But the insurance, that's gonna cover things like our comprehensive insurance covers things like death by elected officials. That's gonna be a premium, or just any type of cost. Like if you're doing something that you're supposed to do, but it results in something else. Like something where someone may want to sue you for. That's kind of part of our insurance cost to cover you as you're in the capacity of your job as an elected official. So. And then of course dues and memberships would be that National League of Cities.
Okay.
One thing that I will say, and I know the budget's kind of tight, but it seems like every time we've had someone attend a National League of Cities conference, they came back with some really good information. I know Councilman Williams has discussed some things. I think a lot of times we go to things and it's close by, and we're talking to people that we kind of talk to every day with a similar mindset of doing things. Then all of a sudden you go somewhere else and you talk to somebody else that's a couple states over. You're like, oh, I mean,
A whole new vision.
that's how y'all are doing it, and then you want to come back and bring it back. So I do think that's a good thing. I mean, I understand the budget is tight, but
It's a great thing.
I do think that it's a benefit. So.
Okay, so all those papers, all those things we just talked about, is everybody, comfortable at where we are as far as, discussion and the money amounts and, I guess, now back on inspection, I kind of jotted down, and I don't, once again, I may be in the wrong meeting, a discussion on business license. Even last year, there was a lot of concern about Avenue doing the business license and stuff like that. And I think,
I had a lot of complaints.
I think what happened, what's kind of the fallout here is, we've got a group that's out of town, but we're gonna have to rely on our inspector to do and to keep Avenue informed, through our man, and make sure that, see, no matter who you get, no matter what you're doing, if you ain't got somebody internal, you always gonna have a problem.
Right.
So now that we've got an internal man, everything just need to go to him, that Debbie was doing, and I guess, I don't know how we'll handle it, but, all these little side jobs that, people see that's happening, hey man, you check on this, or, just whatever. I don't know how we handle that, but that's kind of what, somebody reports something to Debbie, and Debbie would send somebody out to check. So, we don't wanna fall short on any of that, I mean,
I
so.
wonder how, Mayor Fuller, how they
they got a whole lot more we got
Yeah.
going on,
Yeah,
you know.
I'll call, or you can call it. and-
Yeah,
and
just ask, you know. Yeah.
How they do.
And I think that'll fix, I mean, honestly, Ms. Hunt, I think that'll fix our, portion with the business license as far as ensuring that they got, I mean, I'm sorry, but everybody know when you come into town, I mean, people have heard all these cities require license,
And a lot of them got the stickers
Yeah.
on the back of the
Yeah.
truck, like
You know,
Auburn and Opalaka,
we,
they
you
got
know,
full permit.
it's unfortunate that when we did go to Avenue, you know, we quit getting a sticker, cause, you know, I used to get one to go on my truck for grass cut. And now we don't have
And
that.
I think, Terry, a lot of the problem with Avenue is just somebody just didn't. pick up the phone.
Communication.
Yeah.
Communication,
Right,
yeah. And they may even have something
right,
already in place,
that's true,
cause they dealing with more than us.
that's true,
So people wanna know that other people got business license,
right.
you know, so, yeah. We need to ask Avenue about that, if they've got any kind of sticker that can come with the business license renewal.
And they don't
They
do
don't.
stickers, because when we first contracted with them, that's one thing that I did talk to them about. So I was like, we're currently doing stickers. They're like, well, we don't do stickers. Like, now, they pretty much said that if we wanted to do stickers, we could, but we would have to do it. So if we're doing it,
I'm just
then,
wondering how,
you know,
I mean, it's,
why we, you
Yeah.
know,
I
so.
think one time, wasn't Opalaka Avenue,
I don't know, I need to check. I
because
can check and see.
I wanna say they.
But I know they have their own enforcement officer.
Yeah, oh yeah, and I
I
was.
know that.
I was saying that because I noticed that they have the, you know, the stickers are, well, maybe it's Auburn, but I
Yeah.
wanna say Opalaka has a little.
yeah, yeah.
You know what? Unless they change, they're not with Avenue for business license.
Okay,
And I know that for a fact because we go through Opelika, like my barber, he goes through the city of Opelika for his business license.
okay,
And then they come out and check.
okay,
Like, I remember one year I was literally in the barber shop and he had forgot to get his license and the enforcement officer came out. So like, they keep track of
you
it
know what,
themselves.
that would be a good
Well,
thing
that's
for
what our
our
man need to do.
enforcement
Yeah.
That's what our man
code,
need to
to
do.
go out
You know?
and
Uh-huh.
check,
He-
because,
You know,
I know they were, somebody locally was with Avenue, because.
Well, Lynette is.
Okay, I know it was somebody local,
I can't remember if Valley went or not, but I know for a fact
Yeah.
Lynette is.
yeah, but we could still see,
we can still find out some
Right.
kind of way we could, you know, and get some, stickers, you know, and we don't wanna end up just literally doing it ourselves, because, like you said, we're gonna do it ourselves, we might well be doing everything almost kind of sort of, you know. But it's something to check
we can
into.
always find out.
Yeah, we can
And-
always
And like
find
you
out.
said, the guy go in.
Right,
We got some kind of contact.
Well,
The
he's
word
got
is gonna get
contact,
around that
he got
he's coming.
information that he's supposed to be keeping up with.
He's coming, yeah.
That's right, that's right.
Yeah.
So,
And we did, and I think Chief brought this up at the last council meeting, we did provide him access to be able to go online, to be able to check and see who's licensed and who's,
Right.
and who's
Right.
not.
Right,
That's important.
you know, I mean, just like me, I don't have a sticker on my truck to do grass, but, I mean, if they pulled up on me, I got my license in one of them trucks, I don't know which one I may be in, but I got a license out there in my truck,
Right.
you know, and so,
Even if they gave you a ticket, you could always come back
always
and say, well,
come,
here,
yeah,
here,
there you go,
you're
that's
gonna
right,
license it.
that's right,
You know.
yeah.
And about the third time, they'd know.
Yeah, well, you know what, I'm gonna tell you something, you know, if people in those jobs, they'll know who you are,
Oh, yeah.
especially if you're staying in the same vehicle and
Right.
stuff like that,
Yeah.
you know, it's
And
no
if they
problem.
see you regular.
Right,
Yeah,
that's right,
Exactly.
yeah.
Consistent basis,
Okay.
they know.
Okay, all right, well, I think that's a quick fix, it's, not really a quick fix, but something we can always work on and improve. Last thing I got, y'all, is recreation, and I don't, I got page 15 on mine,
Mhm. Yep. I did not put much in recreation.
yeah,
I added the 2,400 in salaries is actually I just put that back in because that's the amount that we were roughly paid the person that was running the summer basketball program. Yeah, because they would normally go, we pay them 300 a week and it would normally run 8 weeks, be 4 in June and 4 in July. So, and then the operating supplies, that kind of varied, cause like, say if George goes out and replace, you know, like fixes something, bleachers, or, you know, just anything, we have that. The utilities,
All depend on use.
one, huh?
All depend on use, pretty
Yep,
much.
it depends on use, and then also what we've done historically is things say like the community house and all that, it was just always coded under recreation.
Okay.
So we put that under there. Insurance, of course, that's kind of what it was. Building repair, I know I talked to George, he said there's a couple of things that needed some work done, but he said it wasn't anything major, but put 10,000 in that. Then the appropriations, well, the equipment repair, so I'm not quite sure why I put 500 in equipment repair.
Maybe they ain't gotta buy no equipment this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because normally, any type of equipment stuff, we're gonna have just under the appropriations section, which we had, and the reason we went to 15, because there was talk of wanting to add another sport, like actual
Soccer,
basketball
soccer,
season and stuff like that. So normally in the past, they would have like 5,000 that was appropriated for football, 5,000 appropriated for baseball, and then you maybe have another 1,000 or so, so like if for baseball, they went to the Little League All-Star thing. Then there was talk of a basketball program possibly coming up under the city, because they already do a program, but it's separate.
Yeah.
So that's why we put that at 15,000. Now, one thing that I have not accounted for, I spoke with Kerry Tolles last week, and he said that he had spoken with Superintendent Chamley, and Superintendent Chamley was gonna get with him to sign a MOU, a memorandum of understanding with regards to using their facilities, and that, going forward, there's probably gonna be a charge to use their facilities. So for the football season, I guess there'll be a charge, and for basketball, there'll be a charge. But I don't have those numbers yet, I don't know what it would be, but that's just what Kerry told me like about a week or so ago.
Have we, just something else in recreation, have he got the football equipment stored already, or?
Yes,
do
it's
you
my
know?
understanding that they put the football equipment back out there, and that's one thing I was gonna talk to the mayor about, because we need to figure out where they're gonna put the football equipment, because it's in the bottom of the old McLennan building.
Yeah.
It's gonna mold again,
It's
right?
Yes, this is gonna do the exact same thing, so the last I talked to Kerry, I think he said him and the mayor were discussing that, but I'll reach back out to him, because that's been at least a couple of weeks now,
Okay.
at least. Yeah, I mean, if we don't do anything, but in the meantime, put it in one of the wings over there at the medical building,
Yeah.
and have the AC or
Yeah.
the heat on, no matter where it's, I
Right.
mean, but we gotta do something.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, because if not, we'll end up spending thousands of dollars again
Yeah.
to buy brand new stuff.
So, on paper here, I'm gonna go off paper and ask about the park. What are we,
What page y'all
I'm still on recreation,
Oh, okay.
but I'm just going off paper
Okay,
and
okay.
asking about the park itself.
on? Okay.
As far as, you know, our plans to move forward is on the park. I mean, you know, I know we've tried and we're still talking, you know, about doing certain things, but, you know, I think, you know, as we need to make sure we're all on the same page as moving forward to continue with the park and making sure that we, you know, we're trying to get this park taken care of. Now, you know, I've heard people, you know, talking both ways about the park. Now, I'm here to tell you, I've traveled all over the place, and, you know, I've seen people, no matter what size park, no matter what, you have people out there using these facilities. This little area we already got set up over there, they're using the facility. So, you know, if we go ahead and make a move to, you know, if we could go ahead and put a walking trail in, you know,
But
they'll
they
use the
the
walking
county-
trail. they use the one up here at the, arena.
Right, absolutely.
They
'Cause I
go over here
go
to the
there.
cemetery and walk.
Mhm.
I mean, that'll just give them more space to walk.
Mhm.
I mean, you know, and, you know, we go ahead and if it's anything that we can lay out to go ahead and start getting in there and continue this process, you know, I think it'll be a good thing. You know, it's just a matter, I know we talking funds on everything we have to do. You know, we vowed, we bought this land, you know, years ago, and, you know, that's what it was purchased for. And, I mean, that's what we had vision to see, a nice park full of it, you know, and, in the surrounding area, because I found out that, you know, people just don't say, well, you know, we stay here, we just go to the park here, because when you're visiting or when you're riding through or just whatever, people stop and, let's use this. One thing I will say in a park that we hadn't thought about or talked about, one of those corners, we need to do a dog park. We need to have it where people can bring their dog and go in if a area this big, is this room, have it set up for dogs or bigger for dogs. You can turn your dog loose in there and let them run free for a few minutes.
Depends on what kind of dog you got.
Well, all depends on what kind of dog you got. That's
What
right.
other kinds of dogs
Or,
are there?
well, you have stipulations also as to, see, sometimes when you go to a dog park, they gotta have a muzzle on.
Right, right,
So, you know, those be some
Right.
things that we can talk about.
right.
You know, those vicious animals may still attend, but you gotta make sure, you know, everything is taken care of.
And this is nothing to do with the budget, but I would like for y'all to think about, we maybe need to get with Lynette and see what their vicious dog law is, visit, and maybe we could visit that, because I'm telling y'all, we're gonna have a problem. Somebody's gonna get hurt,
I've got that.
okay? Because I've been
I've got
saying
it.
that for,
I
I
got
know,
it.
10 years.
Yeah, you know what, and I don't, you probably don't remember, we discussed it at a council
did.
meeting.
We discussed it when that lady got ate up down there,
That's right.
back when I was on
Yeah.
council.
Right, and I've been talking about it
Yeah.
since
And I
then. If we don't do something, I'm mighty afraid we're gonna get sued, because somebody's gonna get
Yeah, 'cause
hurt bad.
I reached out to
People down
Chief
on
Rankin, I
Crestview,
can't remember if it was
once
Chief
again
Rankin or
going
the Chief
forward.
Hill at the time.
Right.
One of the chiefs,
We did.
I got it from Lynette,
Okay,
and I
They've
said,
done it
because
once
when I was
before,
digging,
with
what I
Andrew
found
Banks.
out was,
Mhm.
we
They're
had
giving
something.
somebody, I think it's
a
somebody
blessing
else.
game got
Now?
me.
Yeah, right now.
Blessing game
Because
got me.
we aren't doing our.
Sure.
own
She was
control.
on Andrew property though.
Sure did.
But I'm talking about like this lady in Lynette,
Yeah,
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
died.
Yeah.
You know, we need to, those vicious, those pit bulls and,
But
Oh,
it's not
vicious
just
dogs.
vicious dogs. There was a dog that ran loose in our neighborhood for quite a while, and he wasn't vicious. He was very playful, but he knocked somebody down. People can get hurt when they get
they
knocked
can, but
down.
I'm speaking
I know,
specifically
but-
about these dogs that these children told, I mean, not
Drag
told,
that-
but
that
dragging,
dog,
the
get-
drag
dragging
dogs,
them
dragging
around,
the
yeah.
kids, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, we can't get anybody to enforce animal control laws here.
Yeah.
Well, we just
Once we
got,
don't,
we got to get our animal control officer hired, and then we can
yeah,
enforce the law. We can't enforce
Well, then we
something
have
we
to-
don't
we
have a
have-
person to do.
we have to have him do it too.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest
That's
with
for
you.
another subject, but I
Yeah,
just
okay.
want y'all to think about
Yeah.
that, another time.
Well, overall, we've got to make sure everybody throughout the city is doing what they're being paid to do.
Right.
That's overall.
Right.
So,
That's-
let's, okay, on this budget, everybody's pretty well satisfied with what we've done. Mr. Clerk, you good on? you got-
I just
One
have
thing-
one
Hold on,
question. What are we gonna do about
Well,
the red
well,
number down
well-
Okay,
there?
hold on.
Well,
Mr. Clerk can
that's
say
actually what I was gonna say. One thing that and I know y'all say, oh, he's always bringing it up, but I just can't help but bring it up when I see it, is that we've gotta figure out how we're gonna operate,
Mhm.
what we can and can't do, what we can and can't afford to do. Because this number,
Mhm.
Looks bad.
it's alarming.
Yeah.
And I don't, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
It is.
but,
let me ask and say that, okay, when you give us cleaned up one or a dressed up one on everything, okay? But that's fine, that's fine. What I'm gonna say is, cause we didn't make any changes tonight on anything. So,
Yeah, this is pretty much.
so that's pretty much what it is. So what we'll do, everybody need to understand and look at it, and we need to be prepared to, we need to, I guess it would be the mayor's place to call for a meeting so we can discuss these numbers.
Well, you the finance chair.
Well, I'm saying, well, I mean, I can call a finance meeting as far as the overall budget, yeah, and we can go that route, and then,
I think at this point, we need the entire crew.
yeah.
Yeah, oh, I
we need to be the entire
agree,
group.
I agree.
Well, yeah.
You know, because you know, if you look down, it's broken down, you look at your enterprise funds and you notice the only ones that's not red is electric. And then you look at your general fund and you notice there's like a big problem. I hate to say it over and over again, but we operate like we're 3 times the size
Yeah.
Yeah.
of what we are.
Is
And
it possible, maybe to have the council meeting and maybe to go into a finance meeting immediately after the council meeting, if it's not 8 o'clock when we get out
I'm
of the council
fine with
meeting?
that,
I mean, if it's
yeah.
not 8 o'clock.
Yeah, right,
You know
right,
what I'm saying?
right.
If we could have a nice, smooth council meeting, go through it, and if, you know, everybody's here, then maybe we could go into a finance meeting. I'm just asking,
I'm fine with that. I'm fine, y'all know I'm fine with it.
but I'm not fine
Yeah.
with doing it.
Well, I
at 8
understand what you're
o'clock.
saying as far as
You know what I'm
time wise,
saying?
yeah, I understand that. I don't have a problem with that.
Could we possibly, do you know, clerk, what the agenda may look like for the next meeting?
for the next meeting, I don't have much, like a couple.
Don't put anything on the
Or
agenda.
just don't put anything on there.
Maybe
just don't
we
put
could,
it-
you know,
you know,
maybe we could, cause,
We need some information, some data from the department heads.
Yeah, and I think that's the key too, like, one thing that we did kind of notice, and this is just, I'm just shooting straight.
right,
You dive into the council meeting, then you start getting into the weeds, and then, I'm sorry, you dive into the budget meeting, you start getting into the weeds, and you're not always getting
The
the
truth.
answers
Yeah.
that you kind of want to
Right.
expect, like, okay, well, tell me about this line item, where did you get this number from?
Right.
But you can't really answer that question, which, again, I'm just shooting straight, to me tells me you just looked at what it was in past
and put it
years.
down,
and
right,
just
and
Put
that's
it
why
down,
I'm saying.
but is that what you
Yes.
really need, or is that accurate, or, because we could literally sit through this, and we say we're 1.46 off in the general fund, but the numbers don't
Right.
wanna add up. Now, what I will have for y'all, separate from this, even though it's in here, you'll notice that what we actually spend and what we actually bring in is much closer. Much closer.
Well, that's
So-
another reason I'm asking about that meeting, because at that council meeting, the department heads are required to be here. So if we could, you know, have a nice, swift council meeting, and they're required to stay, maybe we could, you know, and they know that, look, we're gonna be discussing this
Yeah,
budget,
yeah.
you need to have some
Concrete
answers.
information.
Right,
Yeah.
right, because
Which-
we're not gonna be playing with you.
Let me say this to you, Ms. Williams. We thought we had did that when we initially went back, you know, we brought all of them back again, I think, you know, until we got to where we didn't have none, we could get the information out there. We
Right.
brought back 2 or 3 of them,
Yeah,
and then we still got some little misleading stuff,
but what
you know,
I'm saying.
off-table stuff. But I understand what you're saying.
You see
I have
what
no,
I'm saying?
yep.
You know, because they need to know, you need to be prepared, we're gonna go over your budget, and you need to be able to tell us line item for line item, why and what.
Gotcha.
I
I have
mean,
no
that's
problem
just
with
my suggestion, but, because we
And to
we're gonna
provide.
go around this.
Provide provide. That's
provide.
that's the key word right there.
Yeah, I mean, provide,
Yeah.
okay, so like, here's my
Yeah.
salary,
Why
this
do
is
you
why
need
I
this?
got
Yeah.
hired it, and,
Yeah,
Well,
Now, I'm gonna tell you the two department, we fire the EMS, and we didn't have very much hard time with Mr. Green, did we?
salaries were off, I think we got.
You know, I think Ann's department is kinda, who was it? Was it Ann? I guess, I don't know, we did two of them that we really had a hard time with, you know.
but I'm just asking, can we like tell them,
Yeah,
we,
of course.
we're gonna expect you to have the answer, to provide us with the documentation that this is what you need, why you need it. Because we're gonna be there and this is it.
Yeah, cause we gotta finish this budget up. We
And
need
if
to,
you
we
can't
need to
provide it, we
get
just
it
gonna scratch
straightened
it
out.
out.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah, you know, 'cause
you
we
can't
keep,
justify it.
yeah.
keep going and going and
Yeah.
going,
Right.
then what we'll be at the point to start next year.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
don't we need to be more specific though and talk about what kind of information we need, not just
Yeah.
everything? I mean,
Yeah, we need to be specific.
Well,
I'm just
those,
saying,
if you flip through everybody's, budget and you just look and more so go toward the bottom of the pages, you know, you can see where they ask for certain things that, you know, is, you know, say for instance, I'm looking at on EMS on page 9, what I got. You know, I think, if I'm not mistaken, we scratched that ambulance out of that 170,000. You know, and I may have a different sheet than you guys got because I'm still holding on to the older package.
yeah,
Uh,
it's got your notes on it.
Yeah, notes,
That's
notes.
important, don't let
So,
those get away.
so, you know, the 170,000, you know, we went in there and took that out, you know.
Okay, yeah, you know what,
You know,
I think I left that.
the stretcher and the stretcher loader, you know, it was 92,000. And which I understand what he's asking for there, you know, and stuff like that. Do we buy both? Do we buy two? And the good thing about what he said is that they can be transferred from ambulance to ambulance if you know, change ambulances and stuff.
Sure.
As far as buying a new ambulance or something. You know, little stuff like that, you know, so,
but I'm
yeah.
just asking, can we do it like that? 'Cause, you know, us keep meeting like this is just not gonna change anything.
Well, you know, I'm all for it. And now here's the thing. You know, these meetings were set up to get it started and to see where we were.
I understand
And now it's time to bring it all
that.
together.
Right, that's what I'm saying, we can't.
Now it's
there's no
time to
need
bring it all together.
Keep meeting like this.
Yeah. Cause if we'd came out in the black on all of this, we move on.
Right,
We ain't coming out in the black.
right,
We in the red.
so we need some
We gotta fix
justification.
it. We gotta fix it.
Right.
So I guess, Mr. Clerk, if you will, talk with the mayor and just let him know that we would like to, you know, tack on a budget meeting, mandatory department heads, and asking all council members to be here, you know, if you care anything about the budget and stuff like that, you
Well,
know.
I mean, you know, if it's the second Monday, I ain't gonna be here.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't care about the
Well,
budget, but
It's a,
that's why I'm saying, can we?
yeah, we're gonna be, it should be the first one. I think we can get it in on
As
first.
of right now, I only have as of right now like 2 items
Mhm.
for the budget.
Maybe we
I'm-
can not
I'm-
put
I mean,
anything else on
for
there,
the meeting.
say it's full.
Just
and
leave
One
it.
of them
then
is
just
the,
go forward.
You know the email that I sent out regarding the building,
Right,
you know, because we need to kind of
Move
make
that,
a,
move, kit.
either we are or we on.
Yep,
right.
Yep.
You know, and then I'm trying to think of what else, there was one other thing.
You sent an email lately about the building?
No, I mean, the one that you responded to.
Oh, okay.
You know,
right.
we didn't
I thought you
officially
were talking about today.
discuss,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
No. We didn't officially discuss it, so
Right.
that, and then it's something else, I got it on my sticky note for my agenda stuff, but I only have 2 items, so.
But can we just leave it like that and then spend the rest of the time?
Discuss.
Well, not the rest of the time, but, you know, spend some time on
Some
this.
quality time
Right,
dealing with,
yeah,
yeah. I'm good with that, yeah. All right.
If it's legal to do that.
Yeah, we, make sure it's illegal with the attorney, please.
You know, I'm always gonna make sure.
Legal.
it's legal.
Yeah.
I would think so, cause, I mean, we're taking care of.
Right, city business, yeah. All right. Everybody satisfied with what we've done?
Yeah.
All right, meeting adjourned.
So, we're meeting at 6 Monday, right?
Yeah. That right?
No, 5:30.
Oh, so it's been advertised?
I'll know on Wednesday.
Okay.
Because you know what? Because we sent it to them. But I know on Wednesday.
Wednesday is tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah, 5.9, yeah, I saw that, I saw
Not in the
that.
paper.
Yeah, then we probably can't.
Yeah, no,
Or don't need to.
no, if it's not in the paper,
Oh, yeah, I
then,
totally agree.
then no. If it is in the
Oh, okay.
paper, then we'll let it know.
Topic for 7 people,
Okay,
so I have plenty of them.
okay, y'all have a good night.
All right,
All right,
Tuesday.